At 3:42 in the morning, something strange happened. Every machine that reads earthquakes across southern Italy just stopped. They didn't break, they didn't lose power. They stopped because the ground got too hot. The earth beneath the city of Naples became so unstable that the sensors couldn't read it anymore. 12 hours later, steam shot up through the streets. Hot steam, coming right out of the ground in a town called Pozzuoli. Walls cracked open. A hospital had to send everyone home. And for the first time ever, the top scientists in Italy said something no one wanted to hear. They said, "We've lost the model." Let me explain what that means. Under Naples, there's a volcano, not a mountain. A supervolcano. It's called Campi Flegrei. That means burning fields in Italian, and it's hidden. It stretches 13 kilometers under homes and streets and schools. For 500 years, it's been quiet, sleeping, but now it's waking up, and it's not waking up the way scientists thought it would. This isn't just a volcano turning on again. This is a volcano changing into something new, something no one has seen before. The system that kept it quiet is breaking down. Let me tell you what Campi Flegrei really is. Imagine a giant bowl under the ground, a bowl made of rock. Inside that bowl is melted rock called magma, hot magma, thousands of degrees hot. That bowl is 13 kilometers wide. That's bigger than most cities. Naples sits right on top of it. 500,000 people live directly over the caldera. 3 million people live close enough to be in danger if it erupts. And here's the scary part. Campi Flegrei isn't a normal volcano, it's a supervolcano. That means when it erupts, it doesn't just blow up one mountain. It can change the whole planet. The last time it had a big eruption was 40,000 years ago. That eruption changed the climate of Europe for years. But Campi Flegrei doesn't need a big eruption to be deadly. In 1538, a small eruption created a new mountain in just 1 week. They call it Monte Nuovo, New Mountain. That eruption killed 24 people and buried entire villages under ash. Since then, the volcano has been quiet, but not asleep. Scientists have been watching it for decades. They measure the ground. It moves up and down. They call this bradyseism. The ground breathes up, down, like the earth is inhaling and exhaling. In 1982, the ground rose so fast that 40,000 people had to leave their homes. They thought the volcano would erupt. It didn't. The ground went back down. People moved back. Everyone thought the danger had passed. They were wrong, because now in 2025, something different is happening. The ground is rising again, but this time it's heavier, slower, like something thick is pushing up from below. And the rock above the magma, it's melting. Scientists can see it on their instruments. The rock that held the magma in place for centuries is turning soft. It's losing strength. And when rock melts, the system that contained the magma starts to fail. One scientist put it this way: the rock is melting from the inside. Another scientist said, "We're not measuring pressure anymore. We're measuring failure." Failure. Well, that's the word they use now, because the models they built don't work anymore. The equations don't match. The predictions are wrong. For decades, scientists felt confident. They could read the volcano. They could predict when it was dangerous and when it was safe. Not anymore. The volcano stopped following the rules. And when a volcano stops following the rules, no one knows what happens next. That's where we are right now. Right now, at this moment, there's a supervolcano under one of Europe's biggest cities, and the system that kept it stable is breaking down. Scientists don't know if it will erupt tomorrow, or next year, or in 10 years. But they know one thing for sure: the system is breaking, and once it breaks, there's no going back. So how did we get here? How did scientists lose control? Let me take you back. In the 1980s, scientists thought they understood Campi Flegrei. They had instruments, they had data, they had models. When the ground rose, they measured it. When it fell, they measured that too. They thought the volcano worked like this: magma pushes up, the ground rises. Magma pulls back, the ground falls. Simple, predictable, safe. But they were measuring the outside. They weren't seeing what was happening deep down. Deep below Naples, 3 kilometers under the city, there's a massive chamber of magma. Think of it like a giant balloon full of melted rock. For centuries, that balloon stayed in one place. The rock above it was strong, solid, like a lid on a pot. But around 2023, something changed. The magma chamber started to heat up, not a little, a lot. Scientists saw the temperature rising on their sensors. They saw the heat spreading out under the bay. And then they saw something that scared them. The rock above the magma was getting softer. Here's what happens when rock gets too hot. It doesn't just melt all at once. First, it loses its strength. It becomes less solid, more like clay. And when rock becomes soft, it can't hold pressure anymore. That's what's happening right now. The lid is failing. A scientist named Dr. Moretti works at the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology. That's the group that watches Campi Flegrei every single day. He compared the data from 1984 to the data from 2025. What he found shocked him. In 1984, the ground rose 3 meters in 2 years, fast, but the rock stayed strong. When the pressure dropped, everything went back to normal. In 2025, the ground is rising slower, but the rock is changing. It's losing density. That means it's full of tiny holes now, weak spots, cracks. Dr. Moretti said this: the crust is collapsing from the inside. Let me say that again. The crust is collapsing from the inside. That means the ground under Naples isn't just moving, it's breaking apart. But here's the problem. When Dr. Moretti tried to share this information, no one wanted to listen. The government said the data was unclear. They told people it was just gas moving under the ground, normal stuff, nothing to worry about. But behind closed doors, they were panicking. A leaked report from the Research Institute said this: crustal viscosity collapsing by 40%. Viscosity means thickness, strength. The rock was losing 40% of its strength. And if the rock gets too weak, the magma will find a way out. Scientists started to argue. Some said the danger was real. Others said the data was wrong. They went on television and yelled at each other. It was chaos. Because when scientists disagree, people get scared. And when people get scared, they don't know who to trust. Meanwhile, the magma kept rising. The rock kept weakening. And the instruments kept sending signals that didn't make sense. One night, a researcher was looking at satellite images of the bay. She saw something that made her hands shake. A huge heat bloom, spreading under the water, getting bigger every day. She called her team. They ran the numbers again, and every time the numbers said the same thing. The magma chamber wasn't just getting hotter, it was getting bigger. The magma was pushing into new spaces, finding new cracks, new pathways, and once magma finds a pathway, it doesn't stop. The system that held the magma in place for 500 years was coming apart. But no one wanted to say it out loud, because saying it out loud meant admitting the truth. They had lost control. The volcano wasn't following their models anymore. It was doing something new, something unpredictable. And unpredictable volcanoes are the most dangerous kind, because you can't prepare for something you can't predict. You can't evacuate a city if you don't know when the danger will come. And you can't calm people down if you don't have answers. So the scientists kept measuring, kept watching, kept hoping they would find a pattern. But the pattern they found was worse than anything they imagined. The pattern was this: the system was entering a feedback loop. The more the rock weakened, the more the magma rose. The more the magma rose, the more the rock weakened. Over and over, faster and faster. A loop with no exit, and no one knew how to stop it. Then things got worse. In April 2025, people in Pozzuoli started seeing cracks. Not small cracks, big ones. Cracks that ran across roads. Cracks that split walls in half. One woman said, "The walls felt alive." What does that mean? It means the walls were moving, breathing, flexing with the ground. The earth was pushing up so hard that buildings couldn't stay still. And then the steam started. Steam vents opened up in backyards, in parking lots, on sidewalks, hot steam shooting out of the ground. Some vents were small. Others were big enough to burn you if you got too close. Scientists rushed to measure them. They found something terrifying. The steam wasn't just water vapor. It was full of volcanic gases. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. These gases come from deep underground, from the magma. That means the magma was getting closer to the surface. One scientist put a thermal camera on a drone and flew it over the caldera at night. What he saw made him call his boss immediately, a glowing fissure, a crack in the earth, and it was glowing orange. That means the rock inside was so hot it was giving off light. The crack was 3 kilometers long, and it was getting longer. Every day the crack grew. Every night it glowed brighter. People started to panic. Some families packed their cars and left. They didn't wait for the government to tell them to go. They just went. But most people stayed because the government kept saying everything was fine. The mayor of Pozzuoli gave a speech on television. He stood in front of the town hall and smiled. He said, "There is no danger. We are monitoring the situation closely. Please stay calm." But behind him, in the background, you could see steam rising from the street. People didn't know what to believe. On one hand, the scientists were saying the volcano was changing. On the other hand, the government was saying there was no danger. Who do you trust? Here's the problem. The government had a good reason to stay quiet. If they told everyone the truth, 3 million people might try to leave at the same time. The roads would be jammed, ports would be overwhelmed, chaos. So they chose silence. But silence doesn't stop a volcano. The European Space Agency sent up a satellite with a special camera, a thermal camera. It can see heat through clouds, through buildings, through rock. When they looked at the images, they saw something no one expected. The entire floor of the bay was hot, not just one spot, the whole thing, like a giant hot plate under the water. And it was getting hotter. The scientists ran simulations, computer models that predict what will happen next. Every simulation said the same thing. The upper crust was losing density. That means it was full of holes now, porous, like a sponge. And when the crust becomes like a sponge, magma can move through it more easily. The volcano was reconfiguring itself. Think of it like this. For 500 years, the magma was locked in one place. Now the lock was breaking. And the magma was finding new rooms to flow into, new channels, new pathways, new exits. One researcher said this, "We can't stop it." Those 4 words changed everything. We can't stop it, not we don't know what will happen, not we're studying it. We can't stop it. Because once a volcano enters this phase, nature takes over. No human technology can slow it down. No evacuation plan can move 3 million people fast enough. No warning system can predict the exact moment it erupts. All we can do is watch and wait, and hope we have enough time. One night, a drone pilot flew over a farmland area on the edge of the caldera. His camera caught something that went viral online, a new fissure. This one was different. It wasn't just glowing, it was bubbling. You could see the rock moving, pulsing, like a heartbeat. People commented on the video. Some said it was fake, others said it was the end. One comment said, "The Earth is opening up." And in a way, that's exactly what was happening. The system that held the magma in place was no longer solid, it was becoming liquid. And when a volcano becomes liquid, all the rules change. No model applies, no prediction works. Nature stops asking permission, and humanity has to step back and accept a terrifying truth. We were never in control. So what does this mean for the people who live there? Let me tell you what's happening on the streets of Naples right now. Some families are leaving. They're packing their cars with clothes and pictures and driving north, away from the volcano, away from the heat, away from the cracks. But most people are staying because they don't have anywhere else to go. They have jobs, they have homes, they have lives, and the government keeps telling them it's safe. But in private, the government is doing something very different. They're making evacuation plans to move 3 million people. 3 million. That's more people than live in Rome. Where do you put 3 million people? How do you feed them? How do you house them? How do you move them all at once without causing a traffic jam that lasts for days? You can't. So the government stays quiet. They tell people to stay calm. They say the scientists are exaggerating. But behind closed doors, they're preparing for the worst. One official said this in a leaked meeting. If we tell them the truth, we'll have chaos. If we stay quiet, we might have time. Time for what? Time to figure out a plan? Time to hope the volcano stops? No one knows. Meanwhile, the people of Pozzuoli are living in fear. They feel the ground shake every day, small quakes. little tremors, sometimes 10 times a day, sometimes more. The quakes are so common now that people don't even run outside anymore, they just wait for it to stop. One man said, "At first I was scared, now I'm just tired." That's what happens when you live with danger for too long. You get tired, you get numb, you stop believing anything will really happen. But that's the most dangerous part, because when people stop believing in danger, they stop preparing. And when the danger finally comes, they're not ready. Scientists look at the history of volcanoes and see a pattern. Before a big eruption, there are always signs: earthquakes, steam, heat, cracks. But here's the problem: those signs can last for years, or they can last for days. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines gave clear signs for 2 months before it erupted. Scientists evacuated tens of thousands of people. They saved lives. But in 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted with almost no warning. The people of Pompeii didn't have time to escape. 20,000 people died in one day. Which one is Campi Flegrei? The slow warning or the fast disaster? No one knows. And that's why scientists are so scared. They can't tell people, "You have 6 months." They can't say, "You're safe for now," because they don't know. All they know is this: the system is breaking, and when it breaks completely, everything changes. Some scientists think the volcano won't erupt at all. They think it will just keep venting steam and gas for years, decades, maybe centuries, a slow release of pressure. But other scientists think the opposite. They think the crust is so weak now that a big eruption is coming. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not this year, but soon. And soon in geology can mean anything. One scientist explained it this way: imagine you're holding a balloon full of water. You squeeze it. The balloon stretches, but if you squeeze too hard, it pops. We don't know how much more the crust can take before it pops. And when it pops, Naples could disappear. Not from lava. Lava moves slowly. You can run from lava. But from ash and gas. Superheated ash that moves faster than a car. Gas that poisons the air. A pyroclastic flow. That's what killed the people of Pompeii. And that's what would kill the people of Naples. The scary part? A pyroclastic flow can reach the city in less than 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's not enough time to evacuate. It's not enough time to say goodbye. It's barely enough time to run. So what do people do? How do you live when you know the ground under your feet could explode at any moment? Some people pray. Some people deny. Some people just keep living. Because what else can you do? You can't stop a volcano. You can't negotiate with the earth. All you can do is hope. Hope that today isn't the day. Hope that scientists find an answer. Hope that the system holds together just a little longer. But hope isn't a plan, and time is running out. Here's what we know for sure. Campi Flegrei is changing. The rock above the magma is weakening. The heat is rising. The ground is cracking, and the models don't work anymore. Scientists have lost their map. They're navigating blind. And the people of Naples are caught in the middle. Some will leave. Some will stay. Some will wait until it's too late. But one thing is certain. The Earth is moving, and when the Earth moves, humans have to step aside. We built cities on the surface of a planet that's still forming itself. We built homes on volcanoes. We planted gardens over magma chambers. We told ourselves we were safe because the danger was buried deep. But the Earth doesn't care about our plans. It doesn't care about our cities or our maps or our models. The Earth does what it's always done. It melts. It shifts. It erupts. And it reminds us who's really in charge. Campi Flegrei isn't just a volcano, it's a message that says you don't control nature, you live with it, you respect it, or you pay the price. Right now, at this very moment, there are people in Naples sitting down to dinner. They're laughing, they're watching TV, they're tucking their kids into bed, and under their feet, the earth is boiling. That's the reality. That's the truth no one wants to face. We live on a thin crust of rock floating on an ocean of fire, and sometimes that fire breaks through. The system that kept Campi Flegrei quiet for 500 years is breaking down, and when it breaks completely, no one knows what will happen. Maybe it will be slow, maybe it will be fast, maybe it will be tomorrow, maybe it will be 50 years from now, but it will happen. because the Earth always finishes what it starts. And when it does, the only thing we can do is witness it, record it, learn from it, and remember that we were never in control. We were just visitors, living on borrowed time, on borrowed land, and the Earth was always going to take it back. The system is breaking down, and all we can do is watch.